Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today is Monday, May 9th, 2022. I am Sally Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. And for those of you who are on YouTube and Facebook, welcome. If you want to join live in the discussion verbally, you'll have to come over to Podbean. Other than that, you can join in the chat. Welcome, Brina. You are number one today, girl. Welcome. Blunt Ninja, welcome. You're number two, and Frankie, you are number three. Yes, Sabrina, I had a wonderful Mother's Day. Even though I was moving my son out of the dorms, it was still a good day. I'm glad to have him home. Hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day also. And Blunt Ninja, if you're a mom, I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day also. And Frankie, happy Mother's Day to your mom. Okay, I'm just... All right, so Lou Rock, welcome. I'm going to get this started. Grid, hey, welcome. Okay, so today I want to talk about infertility and why is it hush-hush? And let's see, welcome PB4-2 And why is talking about infertility a no-no? And will in vitro fertilization be the next thing on the government's hit list? Our reproductive rights in jeopardy. Okay, so infertility. Okay, Blunt Ninja, you're saying you're suffering from infertility. And my husband and I actually went through in vitro for my son. And that's one reason why he's an only child. But he will be 22 in June, which is next month. And yeah, it was something that's very stressful. And it's something that, let's see, Blunt Ninja says you've been through IVF and IUI. Okay. May I ask how many years, months, days, how long you've been going through it? Mr. B Great Times, welcome. 11 years. Wow. Okay. So for me and my husband, it was about 2 years. And again, it is very stressful. And in 2 years, after 2 years, you have 10% of couples that are not successful. And infertility will increase in the future. And they say by 2025, 10 million couples will have issues conceiving. When you go through the whole process of, depending upon how your process is in terms of having a child, for me, I've told you guys before, I never wanted kids. So when we had this issue, it was like, okay, is this guy telling me that because you didn't want children, I'm going to, have you have a hard time conceiving? Possibly. But 9% of men and 11% of women have infertility problems. And 1/3 of the problems in infertility issues deal with the man. And 1/3 are not identified. They don't know if it's the man or if it's the woman. and 1 in 8 couples are unable to conceive, and 1 in 5, which is 19%, will never conceive. And 19% to me, that's a high number. And for women, a lot of it, it could be if you have fibroids, especially with African American women, fibroids a lot, are the issues. But for some women or some men, you'll just never be able to conceive. Daddy Hasselhoff, welcome. Now, they also say that the numbers of infertility have increased over the last 30 years. I don't know if that's necessarily true. And this is why I say this. Welcome to TTS 128. This is one reason why I say this. Back in like 1500s, 16, 1700s, women were considered barren if they never had children. But as we know with modern medicine, infertility is not always the woman. Sometimes it is the man. So when you look at all of the barren women, back, in 15, 16, 17th centuries, how high were those numbers really? But I do believe that infertility is an issue. Let's see. I invited Mr. B. Not a problem. Invite everyone. Thank you for coming. Any specific reason why in the increase? When I was doing my research for this, I was looking it up, and there's a couple of factors. Some of it has to do with the environment that we're in. Some people think that it's because we're dealing as a modern day society, we're dealing with more chemicals, that are in our food. For some people, it's because of weight issues have a lot to do with it. If your husband's overweight, or if your wife is, or male or female is overweight, that has something to do with it. There are a couple of things. And Mr. B, so six years that you've been trying to conceive. I just want to make sure that I'm reading this correctly and you're not talking to someone else. Diets may play a role. I don't truly know, but it makes sense to me. Yeah. I've prayed, I try acupuncture, Chinese herbs, vitamins, massage. Is it Reiki or Reiki work? You name it, I've tried it. But Ninja, one thing that I've also heard is that sometimes stress has a lot to do with it. And, sometimes you just relax, it just happens. But one thing that I have learned through this process is that's one reason why I've never said, it used to bug me when people would ask me, when are you having kids? When are you having kids? Oh, you've been married, for so many years. You guys have been married, for 2 years. You're not having kids. You're not getting any younger. Because I didn't get married until I was 35, and I had my son when I was 37. So, but I will say that the issue was not me. We thought it was, and for a year we, medicine dealt as though it were me. It was not me. It was my husband. I'm not going to say what the issue was, but it was him. So when you look at there's just so many factors. So when people are coming up to you saying, "Oh, when you have kids," and now, almost 22 years later, after our son, we have, "Oh, you should have had more than one. Why did you only have one?" And that's why I'm very careful not to ask people why they don't have children, because you never know. They could have had miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage. They could have had a child that passed away. You just don't know. So when your mom and dad and grandma and your auntie and everyone is asking you, why don't you have children? I started telling people to back off. And family members thought that I was rude, but I'm also stressed out, trying to conceive this baby. And people are saying, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. It was pissing me off. And I'm one of those people who I will tell people, y'all need to back off. Okay, so Blunt Ninja says it is both of you. So let me ask, is it something that they feel they can correct? I mean, it's been 11 years. Is something that they think may eventually happen? Or are you all looking at just being a couple and not having, a family of 3 or 4 or whatever? Or are you looking at adoption? Daddy Hasselhoff says, I'm married after 30 as well. First child at 34, likely going to be our only. Okay. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with having an only child. I've learned that very sensitive topic. I don't ask. Yep. I don't ask. Only IVF. Okay. And I must say too, when you're going through infertility, for some couples, it could be a very expensive process. And my husband and I were very lucky with the health insurance that we're on. We had 3 tries, and with our health insurance, our copay for in vitro was $15 per copay, and they only allowed us three tries, and the third time was the charm. So I did get pregnant after that third time, and I didn't even know I was pregnant. My sister-in-law had to tell me, because I was over her house and I was complaining that my back hurt, and she said, really? And I said, yeah. And I didn't tell anyone. I only told one person, but she was not the one person that I told. And she says, you're probably pregnant. I said, I am not. Nope. No, I'm not. I mean, I was just so sure that I wasn't because I never was. And sure enough, I was. And I was so careful. I was so careful those first 3 months. I was, every time I went to the bathroom, I'm looking in the toilet to see if there's blood. That may sound silly to some people, but when you're going through this, you're just paranoid about everything. And then after I passed that 3-month period, I took this sigh of relief. And we said that we weren't going to tell anyone, and we didn't tell anyone until I do believe it was the 4th month. So welcome the only crazy lady. Let's see. Daddy Hasselhoff says mostly due to wife complications with first would be dangerous to have another. Okay, but at least you have that one. Mr. B says, I have 6 children, but only 1 by me. Okay. Blunt Ninja says, my partner has 3 of his own from a prior relationship. I have a question about that. Blunt, I'm going to come back. They are all grown. At 43, I'm going through perimenopause. Okay. So let me ask you, and if you don't want to answer, because it is personal, does it bother you that your partner has 3 of his own, and you're trying? Because when I was going through the whole process, I got to know a lot of women who were going through the process, and some of them, it was almost a jealousy that their partner may have, or their husband from a previous, from a previous relationship or marriage, they had children, but they were not able to have any. And for some women also, it was an obsession that they had to get pregnant. Welcome, Mama Bear Tracy. Okay. And Blunt says a little. Okay. And Crazy Lady says, with my daughter Jay, I was so careful because they didn't think she would go naked stick. I don't know what that means, Crazy Lady. They didn't think she was go naked stick. I don't know what that means. I feel like I'm a faulty woman. You know what? You shouldn't, because women, just women alone, we do so much, and we are super women. I don't care, what kind of life you have led, whether you have children or not. We are super women. So if you want to reach out to me at solidbluesister@gmail.com, I would love to exchange information and we can talk, because you are not a faulty woman. I don't even know you and you're not a faulty woman. Okay. And see, and Brina says the same thing. Okay. Long time. Hope you had a good Mother's Day. Okay. Naked woman wasn't supposed to be in there. Oh, okay. All right. Crazy lady. Mama Bear says, I've seen what your show is about and I had to join. Okay. I remember you referencing something about infertility before, and you've gone through this yourself. She is my miracle baby for Crazy Lady. Okay. So, and once again, I caution people that when you see people who are married and don't have children, or are in a relationship, or are older and they don't have children, you never know what the situation, you never know. So that again, I truly just, and I would also, because I went off on some of my on some of my relatives, and like I said, they thought that I was just being rude. But looking at it now, I could have said it in a nicer way. But again, I was under stress. But one thing that I do say to some relatives now, when I'm around people and they may not say it to the person who they're talking about, but they'll make comments like, well, why doesn't she have kids? Or why don't they have, I tell them, you don't know what is going on in their relationship. Why don't and it's none of your business. You really shouldn't voice your opinion, because the bottom line is, no matter how much your parents may want to be grandparents, it's between you and your partner. It's between the two of you. If you want to tell people you're pregnant, you tell them. If you want to tell them that you're going through some issues on the road to get there, that's up to you. But I've also learned from being around people who was going through the same thing. And at one point, I went to a support group because I was like just really getting stressed out. They had to pretty much, say that they had to tell their parents, stop talking about grandkids, especially if they had other brothers or sisters who have children. It's like, stop focusing on me so much. Don't worry about me. You already have on grandkids. You just got to tell people just to chill. But that's just me. So I would ask, how many months are you? Okay. Are you asking me, Mr. Big, how many months I am? Or let me see. And did I miss something? Took years to try and a lot to have a baby. Oh, no, I would ask them. But you know what? Okay, so you're saying, okay, I'm a little confused. Well, you look like 6 months, but what if they're not pregnant? And I made that mistake years ago when I was working at a company, years ago when I was in my early 20s. I made the mistake of asking someone when their baby was due, and they weren't pregnant. They were just large, and that was another cue for me. Keep your mouth shut, because even when you say, well, you look like six months, what if they're not pregnant? And then again, unless they tell you, I wouldn't say anything. So I don't know, it's just me. It's having been there, having opened up my mouth, asking someone if they were pregnant. And literally I would see this girl on the elevator all the time. And I would always say, she's been pregnant forever. When is she going to have this baby? So one day I'm on the elevator with her and I asked her, when are you, what do you do? And she said, I'm not pregnant. And I was like, okay. Hi, Mr. B. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for accepting the call. Let's let
Hmm.
me clarify. What I meant was if somebody comes to you and asks you, why aren't you pregnant yet? I would ask them, oh, how many months are you? It's
Oh,
like, oh, you're not pregnant? Oh, my bad. I
oh,
thought you were 6 months.
okay, got it.
I
Got
was,
it. Got it. So you would flip it back over to them.
yes, I
Okay,
mean,
got it. Got
if
it.
they're asking awkward questions, why not join the conversation?
Okay, yeah, yeah, and hopefully it would, get them to be quiet. But let me ask this: what do you do with Because I consider myself old school,
Hmm.
but not old school like my parents were, or my grandparents, whatever. But what do you do when you have relatives,
Yeah.
especially, like in China. I mean, it is a culture thing
Hmm.
where you get married, your in-laws live with you, and the very first thing that a lot of Chinese parents want is when you're going to have a baby. Doesn't matter if they have grandkids from every other child, whatever. They want to know when you are going to have this baby. So what do you do when you have parents or grandparents or aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, whatever, who are constantly asking you? Do you finally tell them the truth? Because I personally think that's a mistake, because then they'll be all in your business even more.
Oh,
Or do
yeah.
you just gently say, leave me alone? I mean, what do you do?
Well, the way I would deal with it is through humor a little bit. Um, First, I would say something about I don't feel comfortable talking about this. It's a very very serious decision, and we both need to talk about it. So I appreciate it if you wouldn't ask. And after a while, if that didn't work no more, I'd be like, well, if you like grandchild, you can always adopt one.
Okay.
That's
Now,
when the jokes start coming in. Because after a while, if a person is not going to respect your choices, respect your wishes, like please don't. It's very difficult. My partner and I need to make the decision, together. You know,
okay,
but
so let me ask this, because let's talk about adoption for a moment.
that's very
Because,
expensive.
well, let's talk about the emotional side of it. Because when we were having issues, and I finally said to my husband, I said, why don't we just adopt? I didn't have a problem with it. My husband
Hmm.
did. And I have
Oh,
found that when I talk to other people, and these are just people who are not just random people who you may or may not be having issues, whatever, but most men want their own biological child.
hmm.
So why do you think that is? Why do you think it is that when you're going through infertility issues, that some men would rather not have any than to adopt? And I don't
Well,
mean to offend anyone here who is adopted. I'm just adding to the conversation.
right. Well, first of all, let me state that my wife and I we are adopting 3 kids. Um, so, but I understand. Okay, I can't speak for all men, but what I've experienced is some might feel like they're a failure of not be able to, you know,
Okay, but
produce.
you also have that if you have it where it's not their issue, where it's the woman's issue on terms of why you are not able to conceive. So they're not failures, so
Right, but here's the thing though. Through a male, this is just my experience. Through a male's eyes, pride could could block it. I get what you're saying,
okay.
but some men they feel like they're a failure. Just like say a man be working for 40 years, right? And he lost
Hmm.
his job. His wife could just keep on telling, "Oh, you be there, you're a good man," blah blah blah. But in his head, he might feel like a failure until he accepts it. Like what, I can bounce from this.
Okay.
So really, question is the state of mind where that individual is. They might feel that they can't. do it. Or another thing is, could be a mental thing. They're afraid that they won't be a good father, or thinking like, well, my father did this, my father did that. How can I be a good father if I'd even had a good father? So I know it seemed like a simple question, but it could be a really deep reason why they don't feel comfortable raising a kid.
Well, what do you think about what Mama Bear Tracy said? She said to carry on their name, that men want to have their own biological children to carry on their name.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay.
It's there's different reasons, but I think for the most part, I would think it's about like a pride thing. If I can't, if I can't produce or provide for my wife the way she like that, then it's not meant to be. Or some people might go through the Christian or godly thing. Well, if God wants to have a child, then He'll bless us having a kid, and if not, then it's not meant to be. But some
Okay.
people are really really strict about that.
All right. And Mama Bear says that's how girls feel when they feel like they can't give their husbands a baby.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I see that.
Well, I'm going to go over to Ziller. He's been waiting patiently. Ziller, welcome. And Mr. B, if you can mute your mic while someone else is talking, I'd appreciate that. And Ziller. So, welcome. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you, Solid?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. B on the father thing. Pressure wise, that's true. Um, but catch me up on what we're talking about.
Yeah.
No, I mean catch me up a little bit.
Oh no, just basically, just in for fertility, how couples have issues. How you
Oh,
shouldn't ask people, when are you going to have a baby when you don't know what the people are going through.
oh, okay, cool. This is a good one for me. Oh, yeah, this. So, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, okay. I definitely agree with both of you on this one. So my my girlfriend and me, she's like this. No. I'm like, well, do you want it? Yes. No, I don't. Well, here it all came down to that she was just scared because she didn't want to be a good mom. That's all it came down to, and that's where it was like Mr. B great. That's where it was. I agreed with him, and also Solid. I agree with you, and also I agree with Mama Bear. But on my point, um, what Mr. B also said that caught my attention is my dad pushed me to some things when I was a younger child that I wouldn't want to go to. I wouldn't want to be a father because of what he put me through. Strain on my brain because I had brain damage and all kinds of things like that. So it's like I didn't know if I was ready to be that kind of person. I don't at a young age. You know what I mean? I was like, oh no, man, this is way too hard. Kind of situation. But that's for right now. There you go.
Okay. All right. All right. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and I don't want to, go into the whole abortion thing because that's another show. But um, I want to know, as of 2015, states were hesitant to regulate reproductive medicine. However, reproductive medicine is one of the most heavily regulated uh, fields, I guess to say, in the US. Now, with everything that's going on with abortion and, Roe versus Wade and everything, and again, I'm not asking anyone if they're for abortion or against it. That's not what I'm getting into. So please do not think that at all. Um, do you think that with everything that's going on with some of these laws, that the government will soon regulate reproductive medicine? Will it be harder for couples who are having issues to have access to IVF or IUI? Um, uh, will it be even more expensive? What do you guys think?
Okay, I'll go. I think I think it's going to be expensive, but I don't know. Solid Blue. That's more your. I'll let Tracy. I'll let Tracy do this one. I'll pass.
Okay, all right, Mama Bear, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi. What was the
Hello.
question? What was just said?
No, just
My son's not
just
feeling good, so.
basically, do you think that with everything going on with Roe versus Wade, and the government, do you think that reproductive medicine will soon be regulated in terms of who can and who can't? These are the guidelines. It's going to become more expensive. I mean, what do you think?
Okay, I just got to go in another room.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, it's a very touchy subject for me, but I think, I don't know if you're asking me, maybe I'm not understanding maybe what you're asking me. I think if you find out there's something wrong with your baby and it could possibly cause you your life or your child's life, I believe in that. But if you were out just
No. I'm not asking if you agree with abortion or not. I don't want to turn this into an abortion show. No, what I'm asking is, do you think that with everything going on with Roe versus Wade and some of the laws that have been passed, do you think that reproductive medicine in terms of in vitro will soon come under the gun on what you can and cannot do, who has access to it? Will it be more expensive? That is what I mean.
Oh, okay. Just because I didn't hear the beginning of it because
that's okay. That's
why.
That's okay.
It's expensive as it is now. I don't know what it is with the states, but it's just, it would be nice if it wasn't so expensive for the people that really, really want to have a child. So I would like to see it not go up. I would like to see it go down.
So what do you think of sperm donation? What do you think of, that some women, if they are not married or, they choose to become a single parent, and sometimes they are older, they go to a sperm bank and they choose, number 24F. What do you think about that? Do you think that may soon come under the gun of no more sperm banks or whatever? I mean, what do you think?
Honestly, I think there probably will always be sperm banks. And I mean, if you grew up always wanting to have a child and you couldn't find that right partner to be with, then I'd say all the power to you. Because I mean, you have say you have two women that are together and they go to a sperm bank and want to have a child. I don't see anything wrong with that. But I think there'll always be a sperm bank.
Do you think that, other than it being regulated in the sense of safety and making sure that the donors, don't have any type of disease or anything like that, do you think that, other than that, it should be hands off, that it should be something that's just left to private industry, so to speak?
I mean, I would hope that they would test everybody. I mean, I'm up in the air when it comes to the sperm bank stuff, but I mean, I think they should test as many tests they could give the person, right? If that's what you're asking.
Okay, yeah, it is. It is. And Blunt Ninja says, "I like to see it be a covered expense. The natural functioning of a woman's reproductive organs should not be an elective procedure." I think you're absolutely correct. I think it should. I think it should be too. And Lurak says everything is wrong with that. Not sure what you're referring to, Lurak. Mr. B, did you want to add in on this conversation or make a comment on something else?
Yes. I believe that it'll just get higher, unfortunately.
Do you think that's just because things are getting higher, period, or do you think that greed will come in and, if we can make more money, then yeah, let's charge more?
I think it's because of greed, but they won't make it look like way. They'll try to blame it on something else as usual.
As usual. That's true. This is true. And I never understood why. Again, I'm not a scientist. I don't work in the field, but I never understood why for some people it's like, $20,000-$30,000, per shot, or when I say per shot, I don't mean a shot necessarily in the arm, but just for per visit or per
Right.
treatment or whatever. I just don't understand, what are you doing that it costs so much?
That's where the big words are come along and try to say, well, because we have to split the cells and freeze them and all that stuff. But it should be like technology. First, when technology first come, computers, nobody couldn't afford a computer when it first came out.
Right.
And it was huge.
Right.
The whole closet was the computer. The
Mm-hmm.
average Joe couldn't have that. It had no room.
Mm-hmm.
But now everybody got cell phones. And cell phones is the new computer, really, if you think about it.
Oh, it is.
So what I'm saying is, as technology gets better, prices tend to go down. But when it comes to healthcare, especially in America, in my opinion, it goes up because they find reasons, excuses why it needs to stay high or why it should go up. But if you go look at it, a lot of medicines shouldn't cost that much. But it's that high because they want profits. And the profits are running the health department. I mean, the health systems. It's not run to care for people as a business. And business don't care for people. Business care about profits. And that's why it's so high, in my opinion.
Well, do you think that, and this is for whomever on the panel would like to answer this, and I'm not trying to be funny, and yes, I have, watched movies in the past and whatever, but do you think that we'll ever get to a point where when people are not able to conceive, that there will be child banks? And what I mean by child banks is like, where you have surrogates now, that surrogates will, start conceiving through sperm bank, like I said, sperm number, 125 gs or whatever. And that we'll have all these children being born, and they're like in an orphanage type place. And for people who either cannot conceive, or instead of just going through the adoption process, whatever, you literally go and pick your child. I mean, it sounds crazy, but the way some things are with technology, where you're cloning sheep and you're doing all this other stuff, I thought about that when I was getting ready for this show. Do you think that would, be possible? Do you think that somewhere someone is thinking about that, where, when you think of it, where with organ donation, not enough people are donating their organs, or you have to stay on the waiting list for so long, that people are selling their organs or whatever. Do you think that surrogates will be selling, you know, themselves to like sperm banks, and parents can come and, kind of pull the lever, and this is the child that you have? I mean, it sounds crazy, but does anybody think I'm that crazy for saying that?
They kind of already are. Some people already wrote in the comments, and in a way, yeah, they are. And you said about the sheep. Well, a couple of days ago, I seen they had a sheep. Well, it was in a bag, right? But it was like the bag was acting like a fetus. So they was pretty much growing a sheep from a bag, and they said he can also use this technology to make organs. So yeah, it's very very possible. In a way, they're already doing it. They're just doing it like under the cover. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I truly believe that somewhere in this world, in some lab or in somebody's basement or somewhere, someone is doing that, or some high school student is, you know, thinking about this for a science, project that they have. I don't know, but I think that it is. Baby ordering through an app. Yes, yes, total seriously. Seriously. Yes, science is really turning everyone into test subjects. Yes, when I was going through when I was going through IVF, they offered me to choose if I wanted a boy or a girl. Interesting. Interesting. They already are. Yeah. You are not crazy. I don't think they should do that. If I'm understanding, yeah, you are. You are trying to play God. Yes, gene editing is a thing too. I believe you're able to choose the color of their eyes and features. I've heard that, Breen. I've heard that's been going on for like the last 10 years. Let's see. Thanks for the talk. Yep, no problem. No problem, Mr. B. Thank you so much for joining the panel and grid. Thank you for sharing the show with Mr. B. Thank you so much. Okay, and Lurak says, if you don't think people should do what they have, let's see. Lurak, you don't think people should do what they have to do to have a baby. And Catetto says, for 40,000 in Canada, they can tailor make your baby. Wow. Wow. Okay, so Lurak, Mama Bear says, you don't think people should do what they have to do to have a baby. Now, Mama Bear, are you going as far as gene editing and what have you, or are you talking about just in terms of the in vitro and what have you? And
I'm talking about
okay,
in vitro. Yeah.
all right, because Lurak said God already has a plan for everyone. Okay, Lurak. So, like I said, I went through in vitro, and maybe that plan, like, and the third time was the charm. Maybe the plan for me and my husband was to go through in vitro. Maybe that was God's plan.
That's right. And to make you guys closer together and stronger.
Yeah. Yes. So Lurak says that the first question Canada asked me was, did I want to abort my child? Okay. All right. I think that's kind of harsh. But if you say no and just keep going on, then let's see, Lurak, I think trying to, okay, let me start this over. Blunt Ninja says to Lurak, I think trying to complete your family should be considered not part of God's plan. That is true. That is true. And we can talk about God's plan or whatever, but do we really know what God's plan is? And you say, but science isn't God's plan. But how do we know that? How do we know that? Before I delve into that, Ziller, you wanted to say something, so I'm going to pass the mic to you.
Okay, well, here's the thing, Solid Blue, and I want to talk to me and you. So forget the technology and all the technology bullshit. What was the natural way of birth is literally, we all know it. We're not going to say it, but literally, without the science and all the stuff, that's how natural. That's how birth is. That's how it's done. Now, I think I think that's how it should done. I don't. This is why literally I totally disagree on every one of this bit. I mean, I'm way confused in my head. My mind is going in many circles. Like, what in the world are you is this talking about? I'm confused. Are we literally going to futuristic technology for kids and putting them in foster homes. Like, are we? I'm solid blue. I'd have to email you because
No,
I got
no. I was just saying, are we going to get to that point? Because technology has evolved so much that we're doing so much. I mean, like, and that's why I use the example of cloning sheep. I mean, we are transplanting. We have, medical technology has the ability to transplant one heart into someone else, to transplant your kidney into someone else. So medicine has come very far. So I was just asking, it was just of what if. I'm not saying that I think that it should happen. I'm just saying, are we going to get to the point where um uh where children may be born or may be chosen, like you know go to a candy machine and put in your money or whatever, and out comes the baby that you want. It was just me asking that.
um. You, I don't want to get on anybody's bad side, but I don't know.
No, go ahead. I mean, go ahead. I mean,
I but some people are mad. People are getting mad in this thing. It's one of those
I
things.
don't think
And yes,
anyone's getting mad. I think people are expressing their
I don't.
opinion, and
I
they're
don't.
disagreeing with people, and that's fine.
But but yes, I totally disagree with this one, 100%. I have seizures. I was C-section. I'm with I'm with Lou Rock on this one. And 100%. It's just I don't know. But I'm gonna step down on this one.
Okay, all right,
But
and Ziller, I mean, and that's fine. I mean, I personally don't have an issue with you feeling that way. There are people who feel that you should only have a child through a man and a woman. They get together, they have sex, and that's it. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of those people. I mean, we did the sex thing, but it
I'm
wasn't working.
I'm
So
just solid.
so
I'm just glad that we're on. We have a great that you're just not mad at me. Okay,
Oh
I'm just
no, no, no. I mean, Zilla, come on, come on. I mean, some of the shows that I've done, I'm pretty sure I'm surprised people are not mad at me. So no, you are good.
thank you so much. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
yes.
I know I'm gonna interrupt, and I'm gonna get in trouble.
Okay, Mama Bear, go ahead.
Ziller, everybody is allowed to have their own opinion. That's what makes everybody different. If we were all the same, it would be a really boring world. Everybody has their opinion, and you're allowed to have yours. Nobody should be getting mad at you for you thinking the way that you think, and your beliefs are how you believe. So that's it. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no problem. Have a good show, Solid Blue. You're on a roll, Solid. Kick butt. No Dr. Pepper today, by the way.
Okay, all right. All right. So, hold on, guys. Okay. So, Tuttle says, my ex has Huntington disease. For 40,000, they would take her egg and my sperm and make a genetically modified fetus that was guaranteed not to have Huntington's. Okay. See. Lurak says Judges 13:3, and the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, behold, you are barren and have not borne children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Okay. Uh Lurak says science created COVID, science created cancer into our food supply. Now, Lurak, I have to disagree with you there on a little bit. First of all, and I'm not talking about COVID because honestly, I don't know where COVID came from. I have no idea, and I don't want to turn this into a COVID show. But in terms of created cancer, I do believe that with McDonald's and all these fast food places, And when you go to the market, you are spraying your food with, various different chemicals, whatever. I do believe that that is a way of getting cancer. But I also think that cancer is already in our bodies. I do believe that, like they say, oh, they were so healthy, they did this, they did that, whatever. They all only grew their own food, they only did this. I do believe that for whatever reason, we all have cancer. Some of it comes out where you go to the doctor and they're like, you have cancer. And some of it is just hidden. You know, that's what I think. Um, just like for some of the genetics, that we have, you can go, you know, um, halfway through your life and not know that you have this, or because your great great grandmother had that, then you have that. So that's what I think in terms of of cancer. And yes, please, guys, please hit the like button and share the show because I'm trying to get to 100,000. I'm almost there. So let's see. Tuttle says to Ziller, people can disagree here. Zach, no worries, and that is true. I mean, I would like to think again. I say this. Welcome Woody Bush, and welcome Mr. A, and welcome HWERISXS. Um, I would like to think that this is a safe place, that this is a show where you guys can come and express your opinions. Things do get testy at times. Things do get testy, but guys, you all know that this show, you guys can say whatever you want as long as you don't use any racial slurs. You don't use the B word, use the H word. And for people who want to know what I'm talking about, don't use the word bitch, don't use the word hoe, don't call anybody out of their name. We can talk about anything. You want to talk politics, we can do that, but don't start slinging mud at the other people. You all can say whatever you want. So Ziller, no worries. Let me see. Hey Angie, how are you? Let's see. So Lurak says, let's go to Israel on vacation or Babylon. Okay, just 6 cups of coffee. Okay, so as long as you're not doing your Dr. Pepper. Okay, so Charlotte says, I agree with the lady's comment about everyone having their own opinion, and that's okay. And yes, on this show, you have your own opinion, and that is okay. Let's see. No problem, Mama Bear. Take care of your child. So okay, so Crazy Lady says, I got ovarian cancer when I was 20. Welcome, Sly. Sorry, I call everyone names. Not a problem. Not a problem. And I know you're just teasing. Oh, Tuttle, you just cracked me up. Okay. All right. So, I mean, honestly, guys, but do you think that we are getting to that point where one day, the in vitro will turn into this, that the, government may start regulating, or if they don't, that it will turn into like you go to the market, you choose, what type of child you want, and boom, this is the child that you have. See, the movie The Island is a great example. I'm trying to remember that. I want to say that I saw that, but I'm not sure. That sounds really familiar. I don't know, guys. I just think that for in vitro and having gone through it and how stressful it was, if anyone is able to conceive that way, I don't have a problem with it at all. I I don't have a problem uh, uh, with that at all. And Lou Rock, I understand what you're saying in terms of, is this God's plan, what have you. But again, do we know what God's plan is? I mean, can you say that God's plan is not to have someone go and, have in vitro? I mean, can you say for sure that God did not say that having in vitro was okay? And also, I also believe that what was in the Old Testament is different from the New Testament. So I don't know in terms of women, being barren and what have you. So okay, Grit says, I believe God gave these doctors the knowledge to be able to help people with this problem. Grit, absolutely. And that is one thing that I do believe. I think that God created doctors, they created nurses, they created scientists, whatever. He made it possible. He created people who have the talent that if you were in a car accident, that this surgeon can heal you. So Lurak, let me ask this. Okay. Lurak says, I can't say for sure, but humanity has survived for so many years without science. Okay. So Lurak, let me ask this. So if you were in a car accident or a member of your family needed surgery, are you one of those parents who would, or people who would refuse going to the doctor because you don't believe in science and that you believe that if you pray, then God will heal you or heal your child? Would you not go to the doctor, or would you refuse medical attention if your appendix was about to burst, or if it did burst, or whatever? Would you refuse medical attention? Okay, yes, my son was healed without doctors who told me my son would never heal. I'm going to come back to that, but let me read what Tuttle said. The Island is a 2005 American science fiction action thriller film directed and co-produced by Michael Bay. It stars Ewan McGregor, Scarlett Johansson. Okay, what is it about? The film is about Lincoln Six Echo McGregor, who struggles to fit into the highly structured world in which he lives, isolated in a compound, and the series of events that unfold when he questions how truthful the world is after Lincoln learns the compound's inhabitants are cloned. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. That's not what I was thinking about. I was thinking about some older movie. Okay, so Brina says, I always pray for God to touch and guide the hands of all involved in the medical procedures. Yes, Brina. Okay, so Lou Rock, I was just basically going to say something to what Brina just said. What do you think about what Brina just said? I mean, that to pray to God to touch and guide the hands of all involved in the medical procedures. Welcome, Balram, and welcome, Alpha Mike. Okay, and Grit says, Lou Rock, but doctors don't get it. Doctors get it wrong a lot of times. That's why they say they practice medicine. They're always learning as they go. The same country wanted me to abort my son. Hey, bye. Okay, so Lou Rock, you said you were in Canada. Okay, but so you're saying that you did not, that because they wanted you to abort your son, or they asked you if you wanted an abortion? Because in your previous comment you said they asked if you wanted an abortion. So did they tell you and encourage you to abort, or did they just ask you? And I'm assuming this is because your son had some medical issues. They have tests for certain things, and they ask me make suggestions. I mean, I here in the U.S., and I'm pretty sure it's like this everywhere. If you take a test and it finds out that your son is going to, or your daughter is going to have cerebral palsy, or for Jewish people, I know one of the genetic things are Tay-Sachs. For African Americans and people of color, it is sickle cell. You have tests, and sometimes your child may have that genetic code. Doesn't mean that they're going to get it, but you have that genetic code. So they do ask you if they think that it is going to be a likely, do you want to continue with the pregnancy? Whether or not you agree with that question, you can always say no. You have choices. Everyone has choices. And all you have to do is say no. But at the same time, if my child were in danger and he needed an operation, I'm going to the doctor. I'm going to go to the hospital. I'm going to hope that that surgeon or whomever is going to be able to heal my child. Yes, with the help of God. But I'm just not going to, I think that for, how do I say this? I think that for parents who say that, their child is, when their child is really, really sick and they should go to the hospital and they refuse. I'm not saying that your child has a cold. I'm not saying that, they have the flu. I'm not even saying your child has COVID. But when your child is seriously sick and you refuse medical help, do you think it's fair to that child? You may be the parent, but what is that child thinking? You may say, I'm doing this, because I love you, whatever, but what is that child thinking? That's what I would like to know. Why isn't mommy and daddy, why are they not helping me? Why are they not taking me to the doctor? Because for me, I will do everything in my power, everything that I possibly can to make sure that my child, if he were sick, I don't care if I'm 205 and my son's 100 and whatever, I'm going to do whatever I can to try to help my child if they're sick. Okay. Lurak says, yes, they asked me if I wanted to abort my son as soon as I found out my ex was pregnant. No, my son was injured at birth and covered up by the medical system and abandoned by them. Okay, so you have an issue. So you don't trust medicine because of what happened with your son. Bahram says to Tuttles, hi, buds. Okay, you on Flutter. We have love to have participated. Great show. Okay. Okay, Bahram. Tuttles, okay. Because your comments, we are going to revisit the topic do afternoon, so you can come and add to discussion. Okay, so by you and Tuttles. Okay, Lurak, my son used to tell me all the time for 4 years he would cry in my arms and say sorry that he was broken. I mean, Lurak, I'm that makes me feel really, really sad. Because I don't think any child is broken. I was watching a show about 3 weeks ago. I can't remember what it was, but a mother told her child that, everybody has a superpower. No matter, every child is born with a superpower, no matter who they are and what they are. We're all born with superpowers. So, but at the same time, I can't allow I just can't let anything stand in the way of me just trying to, have my child get the medical attention that they need. Okay, Tunnels, I just sent you the invite, and I'm not seeing you. Okay. Okay, Lurak says, my son completely healed after a prayer. I believe in prayer. It only got me closer to my faith and the truth this world actually needs. Lurak, I agree with you. I do agree that we do need to pray more. And I think, and I believe you when you say that your son was completely healed after prayer, but that's not to say that science cannot heal someone else's child. That science still cannot heal. And science is not good. That doctors were not put on this planet or whatever in order to heal. So I don't think that you can judge all of science and all of medicine because of an incident that happened with your child. Because while you're saying this, someone across the road can say, if it weren't for me taking my child to this hospital or whatever, I would have lost them. So while you believe this, you have another parent across the road who is saying something completely opposite, and both of you are absolutely right. Science and medicine is $1 trillion business. There's a lot of greed involved, and I understand that, but that doesn't mean that science is still not helping someone. That doctors are still not helping someone. Absolutely, there is greed. Absolutely, but that doesn't mean that they're not helping someone. They're helping someone right now. So yeah, we all know it's $1 trillion business. We all know that there's greed, but we also know that they help people, and they're helping people because, in my opinion, and opinions of other people here too, that God gave them that talent in order to do that, or that talent was so we are treated as guinea pigs. So Lurak, I'm not trying to convince you, whatever, you have your opinions, I have mine, everyone else has theirs, whatever. But for me, if I have to turn to a doctor in order to help me or help a member of my family, I am going to do so. So, once again, I just put it out there. If you're in an accident, do you want the paramedics to just leave you there and give you a Tylenol and a Band-Aid and say, go home? Or do you want them to take you to the hospital? So, but again, I'm not trying to, we all know about how the medical profession is. We know that there's greed, whatever. And I'm, so this is just a topic that we're just going to keep going round and round about. So we'll just, I'll just say that let's just agree to disagree. So let's see. Blunt Ninja says prayer can't help my condition, only medical intervention. But I respect your beliefs. Okay, all right, and that's what it is. That's what it is. Do you accept? And you may not agree with them, but you can respect the other person's beliefs. And Balaram, what was that word that you gave me last week when we were talking about using the word respect? What was the other word that you used? Because you said that sometimes when I always say I respect your beliefs, you said, do you really? I can't remember what word you used in place of respect, but I mean, but Ninja, you're absolutely right. You may not agree, but you respect those beliefs, and everyone has the right to Everyone has a right to their opinion. Agree to disagree, and that's what it is. You agree to disagree, and you move on. So, yeah. So you agree to disagree. So, okay, everyone. So I'm going to wrap the show up. No one else is coming up on the panel. Does anyone else want to say anything? I think we did cover in vitro at the beginning of the show. I think a lot of people had a lot of input into that. Let's see. Tuttles, I am going to check out the Island. That does look like a good movie. Let's see. Okay, so everyone, if that's all, no one else wants to say anything or come up. Going once, going twice. Okay. And I am going to wrap it up then. No problem, Grid. No problem. So thank you guys for coming, and thank you for the conversation. Thank you for all the likes, and tomorrow I will be back with yet another topic. So you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon or evening wherever you are in the world. Thank you. Bye. Oh, and I forgot to say, because I know Bob is probably laughing at me right now, I always have to say, go where the wind takes you. Bye. Okay. And Blunt, I meant it. If you want to reach out, you are more than welcome. Brina, thank you so much. I'll put my contact information. It's just real easy. Solid Blue Sister at Gmail. Thank you, Daddy Hasselhoff. I thought it was an important show. There's a lot of people out there who are having issues. You're welcome, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.